assistant coach, Sasha Anderson. Thank you for joining us today. Fans, don't forget to visit the lobby to purchase a shirt or give a donation supporting women's. Again, we welcome our honored guests, Alicia Roach, Margie Willis, Rita Smith, Debbie Clemens, Amy Bennett, and Falcon assistant coach, Sasha Anderson. Once again, fans, good evening and welcome to the campus of Seattle Pacific University at Royal Rome Pavilion for tonight's Play for K game between the Wolves of Western Oregon and your Seattle Pacific University Falcons. Now, fans, we ask that you please rise and please remove your caps for the singing of our national anthem by Everett native Felicia Roach. Felicia is a local worship leader, wife, and recent breast cancer survivor. Felicia Roach.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes had bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Our thanks to Felicia Roach. Now let's meet today's starting lineups, fans. First for the visitors from Western Oregon. The Wolves are coached by Holly Howard Carpenter. Her assistant coach is Katie Gurton, along with Nia Bravo. For the Wolves at forward, number 24, a 5'11" senior from Tualatin, Oregon, Savannah Hughley. At center, number 44, a 6-foot junior from Honolulu, Hawaii, Taisha Thomas. At guard, number 3, a 5'6" freshman from Bothell, Kiana Jones. And at guard, number 12, a 5'9" senior from Roseburg, Oregon, Shelby Snow. And at forward, 32, a 5'10" senior from Clackamas, Oregon, Sydney Azor. And now, fans, get on your feet for your Seattle Pacific Falcons. The head coach of the Falcons is Julie Heisey, assisted by Mike Simonson, Susanna Olson, and Sasha Anderson. At forward, number 13, a 5'10" senior from Normandy Park, Jordan McPhee. At forward, number 21, a 6-foot senior from Linden, Courtney Hollander. At center, number 15, a 6'2" senior from Linwood, Julia Haining. At guard, number 11, a 5'9" junior from Hamilton, Montana, Jay Lee Alberts. And at guard, number 22, a 5'8" senior from Spokane, Lindsay Lee.
And welcome everybody to Royal Brome Pavilion on the campus of Seattle Pacific University. Tom Gianella here with you one more time for this basketball doubleheader. And tonight we'll start with the SPU women against Western Oregon as the Falcons look to continue to build on their NCAA tournament resume. They have to keep winning to get enough brownie points from the selection committee, if you will, to get themselves into the NCAAs. Right now they're number 6 in the West, and 8 teams from the West region will get in. Right now 4 teams from the GNAC are in the top 8.
Technical foul has been called on
And
SPU. Game will begin with 2 free throws by Sydney Azar.
that's weird. Apparently they've called an administrative technical foul on the Falcons to start the game. I don't know what that was about. So they start with 2 free throws from Sydney Azor, 5'10" senior from Clackamas, Oregon. Western Oregon in the red jerseys, Falcons in the white. And she makes the free throw, so it's 1-0 Wolves. So no time has come off the clock. We haven't had a tip-off yet, but we're going to start with Western Oregon up 1-0. That's a first. At least that's a first as far as what I've seen. Falcons in the white, Wolves in the red. Falcons will go from left to right on your screen. Wolves going from right to left in this half. And now a whistle here off the tip-off, and we'll do it again apparently. Falcons in the white, Wolves in the red, underway as Jaylee Albert gets the tip. Julia Haining won it for the Falcons. So it starts with a 1-0 score in favor of Western Oregon, and that ball's stolen away off a bounce pass by Savannah Hughley. Falcons starting 5, Jaylee Albert, Jordan McPhee, Julia Haining, Courtney Hollander, Lindsay Lee. For the Wolves of Western Oregon, Kiana Jones, Shelby Snook, Savannah Hughley, Sydney Azor, who shot the 2 technical free throws just a moment ago, and Natalie DeLong are your starting 5 for Western Oregon. And now the Falcons, after a missed shot by Western Oregon, they turn the ball over again as the pass is tipped and then stolen by Jones. After the Falcons got the defensive rebound, it was Haining who got it off the missed Western Oregon shot earlier. And now, after the Falcons can't get the loose ball, we get a foul called on Western Oregon. And that's going to be the first foul on them in this half. It's on DeLong, and that'll be her first.
It goes on Natalie DeLong, her first, the team's first.
Her first personal foul, team's first. First foul called in this game. And that bounce pass stolen away by Hughley. So 3 Falcon turnovers and a technical foul to start off this game. A very uneven first 2 minutes of quarter number 1 for SPU, to be sure, but then the ball's fumbled away by Jones out of bounds on the Western Oregon side, so the Falcons will take over from there. The referees in this game are Michael Thorner, Sean Martin, and Gary Browning. McPhee with the ball right side. It's also play for K-Knight as we recognize Women's Cancer Research Awareness. Everybody wearing pink warm-up shirts. I think one of the Western Oregon players has her hair dyed pink as well. Look like. We get a foul here on the Western Oregon side of things, meanwhile, as Savannah Hughley is called for the foul. She knocks down Haining. Her first personal, second team. And now it's going to be 2 shots for Haining as it's deemed to be a shooting foul, and the first shot on the way and good for her. So 1-1 tie with 8:12 to play in quarter number 1. And Haining, second free throw is going to be up and good, and it's 2-1. Looks like it's Natalie DeLong who has the pink hair for Western Oregon tonight. Get a substitution here for the Falcons, their first of the game, and Erica Pagano comes in for Julia Haining. After Haining hits both of her free throws. 2-1 the score, Falcons ahead. Good baseball score, but not exactly a epic basketball score. Of course, it's very early on, obviously. And now let's see what they call this one as DeLong is able to make the layup with the left hand. They're going to count the basket, so no continuation here. Count the basket for her. Foul goes on Hollander, her first, team's first of the quarter. So apparently what they're calling the administrative technical foul, it was not a team foul in quarter number 1, as the free throw goes up and in for DeLong. 4-2. Falcons ahead. Falcons trailing by a basket as Albert gives it to Lee. Lee for 3, and Lindsay Lee comes up short, and the rebound goes to Snook. Back the other way. Shelby Snook hustling into the front court. Falcons coming into this game 19-6 overall on the year, 13-5 in the GNAC. They're in the GNAC tournament, but again, they've got to keep winning to solidify their spot in the NCAA tournament. They're also going for their first 20-win year since 2015. One more win will help them accomplish that. And, of course, we saw hugely just make the basket there for Western Oregon, put them up 6-2. The assist went to DeLong. Western Oregon's 11-13, 7-11 in the GNAC as Albert gets swatted, and then Hollander gets denied, and then the Wolves come up with the loose ball. The Wolves right now a half game back of Simon Fraser and Western Washington. Each of those teams are tied for the 6th and final playoff spot in the GNAC tournament, as that touch pass going toward the post by Hughley goes out of bounds, and the Falcons will take over. And this after Hughley got the defensive rebound on the Western Oregon end of things, and now here's Albert with the ball over to McPhee. Jordan McPhee with it. Heads to the left around the screen, creeps in, goes up, can't make the running layup, and the rebound going to DeLong there. Kiana Jones with it, left side. Jones coming in a couple steps, now she gives it away. DeLong passes it toward the corner, shot for 3 is good. That was Snook who made it. Snook coming off 2 20-point games last week for the Wolves. A 20-point effort against Concordia and 25 against Billings, and she puts the Wolves up 9-2. 6 minutes to play, first quarter. Albert to McPhee, over to Hollander for 3, puts it up and rims in for 3. So she gets the friendly bounce when all is said and done there. That ball was a little bit undecided once it got to the rim, but it went in for her, and it's 9-5. Falcons within 4. Snook with the ball coming into her left. Snook going up, and it's good with a right hand, or is it an offensive foul? It's a field goal for Snook. They're going to count it. A little hard to tell from our angle here, our broadcast perspective, because it was from the far basket, but that may have been in the restricted area. We'd have to see a replay just to make sure of that, but Snook makes the layup. Foul goes on McPhee, her first, team second, and Snook will go to the line. She'll shoot 1, and the free throw on the way, and it's going to be no good. Wide, rebound tipped. Nice save there, but then stolen. And Rachel Shim, wearing a knee brace, comes in the game, and the outlet pass went to McPhee, and McPhee couldn't make the layup, but she is fouled. And the foul this time going on Snook. It's her first, team's third of the quarter. For the Falcons in the game, 3 substitutions. Riley Evans, Rachel Shim, Julia Hayning in for Albert, Hollander, and Lee. For the Wolves, you have Jasmine Miller and Allie Nelke in for the first time, in for Hughley and DeLong, as McPhee makes her first free throw to make it 11-6. Second free throw coming up for Jordan, and it's good.
Also in for the Wolves, number 2, Jasmine Miller.
And the Falcons now within 4 after that made free throw. Nice to see Rachel Shim back after missing some time with was a right leg injury, although she's wearing a pretty bulky knee brace on the court right now, although it looks like she's moving pretty good. Either way, it's something to keep an eye on. In the win that the Falcons had against Anchorage, Shim led the Falcons in scoring with over 20 points in that game. Layup up and no good there for Jones, and the Falcons get the loose ball rebound, and here comes Shim. Shim in the front court to Haining. Layup no good, but a foul. And the Falcons will go to the line.
Personal foul on WOU's Shelby Snook.
And the foul going on Snook that time.
Fans, we have a timeout on the Royal Rome court.
Her first, or her second, team's fourth. Or actually, yes, it's on Snook, her second, team's fourth of the quarter. And a timeout on the floor with 4:45 left in quarter number one. Just getting underway here from Royal Brome Pavilion. Score is 11-7 in favor of Western Oregon, and we'll be right back.
For photos, stories, and content.
Ready to pick up the action here with 4:45 left in quarter number one.
Kaylee Boschma.
Quick substitution to talk about here for Western Oregon. Kaylee Boschma in for the first time for Snook, who has 2 fouls. That could be a little bit of a loss there for Western Oregon to have Snook out of the game, given how good she can be as on the scoring end for Western Oregon, as Haining makes her first free throw. Falcons now 5 of 5 from the charity stripe to start this game, and make it 6 for 6 as Haining rims that one in. Snook came into this game, for what it's worth, for Western Oregon, averaging just 10 points per game, but she is obviously coming off 2 20-point games from last week. Both of those games were games where the Wolves won. They won at Concordia 65-62 and at Billings 77-65. This is Jones with it with 8 to shoot. Jones coming in left hand, goes up, a whistle here and a foul with 4 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
The foul is on the Falcons, Riley Evans.
And a foul here going on Riley Evans, and that's her first. Team's third. So 2 shots coming up here for Jones. And Jones with the right hand goes up, makes the first, and it's now 12-9. Jones, a 5'6" freshman from Bothell. Went to Bothell High School. Played for the Cougars there. Second free throw on the way, and that's good, and it is 13-9. So Western Oregon now up by 4. Good start for them in quarter number one. Shim with it right side. Again, wearing that bulky knee brace on her right leg, but it looks like she's moving pretty good here early on. This is a 2 for Evans if it goes. It doesn't go, but McPhee gets the rebound and just throws it up and in from the post inside, and it's 13-11. Falcons within 2. McPhee with 4 points here in quarter number one. Boschma with it. And that pass picked off. Great read by Haining. Stuck her left hand up there, stole it, and then on the other end, she lays it in with the right hand, and that's going to prompt Western Oregon to immediately call a timeout. Their head coach, Holly Howard Carpenter, did not like that sequence at all. Julie Heisey on the Falcons side, though, I'm sure she liked that plenty. 13-13 tie, so the Falcons have overcome what was a bit of an uneven start in the first 2 minutes or so of this game to even it up against Western Oregon, and we'll be back in a moment. And after what was a brief 30-second timeout, ready to pick up the action here from Royal Brome. Western Oregon inbounds. Jones with it, and Kiana Jones going against McPhee. Gets it across the timeline with time to spare. And Jones coming in to her right, gives it up to Miller, and then she goes to the top of the circle. Shot from mid-range by Azor. Awkward shot. She tried to get it around the defender. Looked like it was Shim who was closest to it, and that shot was missed. Falcons got the loose ball rebound with the help of McPhee there. And now inside, Hollander heads around to the left. Can't make it after getting past Jones. But we get a foul on the way up.
Foul on Western Oregon's Kiana Jones.
Even if it's not a foul on the way up, it's number 5 on Western Oregon in this quarter, so that creates a bonus situation. Fouls on Jones, her first. Hollander shoots 2. First shot up and good. Substitution time. DeLong in now for Western Oregon. She comes in for Nelke. And now McPhee steps out of the game for the Falcons. Lindsay Lee re-enters. And second free throw up and in for Hollander. So for the first time in this game, a game where the Falcons were trailing 1-0 before the opening tip even began, they are ahead on the scoreboard 15-13. Just about 7 minutes in. Jones with it. Passes left to Azor, coming in, forces up a shot, and she was fouled on the way up. So called on Haining, and that's her first, team's 4th, but it's a shooting foul, so 2 shots coming up here for Azor. Azor, 5'10" senior from Clackamas, Oregon. First free throw on the way, up and good. 15-14, now the Falcons will make some more substitutions. Jaylee Albert checks in. Albert checks in for the Falcons. Second free throw up and good for Azor.
For the visitors, 24, Savannah Hughley.
Also for the Wolves, you have Shelby Snook coming in and Hughley coming in for Jones and DeLong. 15-15 tie. Lee with the ball. Finds Hollander. Shot for 3 is no good. Rebound loose and out of bounds. And the last touch apparently goes off the Wolves. Inbounds coming up here. For the Falcons, the substitution that we just saw was Jaylee Albert coming in for Rachel Shim for what it's worth. There's Riley Evans with the ball. Comes in along the right side of the baseline. Can't make the layup though, and Boschma gets the rebound for the Wolves. Here's Snook with it. Comes in. Snook goes inside. And the short turnaround with the left hand, no good for Boschma. And the Falcons get the loose ball rebound. Here comes Albert. And now Hollander for 3 after getting the feed from Evans, no good. Rebound to Jasmine Miller. Back the other way we go. Wolves have it. And coming in and making the basket there was Snook. And now we're going to get a foul called here. The basket counts. McPhee checks in for Evans on the Falcons side. And the foul going on Albert, and that's her first. Each team now with 5 fouls apiece in quarter number 1. And the free throw is going to go up and in for Snook, 18-15. Wolves by 3. Albert hands off to McPhee. Finds Hollander. Hollander passes left. Albert to Haining, and inside Hollander having a hard time staying on her feet along the high post, and she's fouled. Check to see who the call is on. It's going to be on not Nelke, but Boschma. Kaylee Boschma, that's her first. And Hollander will go to the line. She shoots 2. Bonus situation, 2 free throws the rest of the way. Each team is in that situation right now. And the first shot for Hollander is up and good, so she's got 6 here in this first quarter. Second shot coming, and it's going to be good, and that will make it 18-17. Falcons within 1. And they're trying to play some backcourt here, but That gamble is not going to pay off for Long, as DeLong had a chance at the layup with the left hand off getting the long pass, but she couldn't make it. Haining the rebound on the Falcons' end. Here comes Hollander's shot from short mid-range is up and good with a couple defenders nearby. Nice shot by Hollander. She's got 9, and the Falcons lead by 1, 19-18. This is Hughley with the ball now, gives it out to Snook. Shelby Snook comes in a couple steps to the left. Now she gives it to Hughley. Hughley with it. Hands it off. Snook with 9. 7 seconds now. She gives it to Hughley. And Hughley trying to position herself. Throws up a wild fadeaway shot. No good. Doesn't hit the rim as time expires on the shot clock. So that'll be a 30-second shot clock violation. Falcons get the ball back here with 58 seconds to play in quarter number 1. And Sydney Azor, or Azor, whatever you like apparently. She comes in for Boschma. Shot from the corner for Lee, no good. Assist would have gone to Albert. Haining's there for the rebound though, kicks out to Albert. And Albert passes left, crossing over, and then coming in is McPhee. Got hacked on the way up, and she'll go to the line for 2. 38.8 seconds to play in quarter number 1. Azor is called for the foul. That's going to be her first. And 2 shots coming up here for McPhee, who has 4 points in this first quarter. Falcons up 19-18. First shot on the way, rims in for McPhee. As Erica Pagano checks back in for the Falcons. She comes in for Haining. Falcons have done very well from the charity stripe in this first quarter. 11 of 11. Perfect 100% percentage. And sure enough, I jinxed it right there and then. But Hollander got the rebound for the Falcons, so they get another 30 seconds to work with here. Pagano with it. McPhee coming in to her left. Lee right side. And now McPhee with it. McPhee came in a step. Now she shoots a 3, and that's not even close. Wide left. Ball goes out of bounds. Last touch off the Falcons. 14.8 to play in quarter number 1. So inbounds coming up here for the Wolves. They get the inbounds pass into Azor. And running into the front court is Snook. Shot clock is off. Jump step goes up, right hand good, and we're tied. 4 seconds on the clock, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Albert didn't know how much time was left in that shot clock. That shot won't count. It didn't beat the clock. And Albert, as you saw, missed it anyway, wide to the left. So that's the end of quarter number 1 here in Seattle. And we have a tie, 20-20, after 10 minutes of play. And we'll be back in a moment for more. Ready to continue on here for quarter number 2. Falcons and Wolves tied at 20. Just heard Carly Ratash get announced as coming back into the game for the first time for the SPU Falcons. As we get underway in quarter number 2, this was a long first quarter that we saw as the ball's poked free here, and McPhee is able to scoop it up and roll it over to Ratash. So a turnover there for Shelby Snook and the Western Oregon Wolves. That was a long first quarter that we watched. There were a lot of fouls, a lot of free throws. 7 fouls on Western Oregon, 5 on the Falcons was the final count as the Falcons turn it over here on their end. There was also 1 technical foul on the Falcons at the very beginning of the game, right before the opening tip-off, and that's why they started out the game down 1-0. Getting the ball here is Hughley. As far as free throws are concerned, the Falcons went 11 of 12 in quarter number 1. Wolves went 7 of 9. 3 seconds on the clock. Here's the three-point attempt from the top of the circle. Lips out short for Snook, but a good save there by Hughley along the baseline. So the Wolves get it back. Fresh 30 seconds for them as Snook takes it right side. Pass is left to Azor. Sydney Azor, shot for 3 here. Up and good for Snook.
Three-pointer for Shelby Snook.
So Shelby Snook picking up right where she left off last week. She's got 13 points already here in this first half. And this game is barely over 10 minutes old. Ratosh going inside. It's going backwards and slipping on banana peels as she got that pass. Missed the layup though. And Western Oregon gets the loose ball. Almost a fumble there. Ball rolled over to Azor. And the ball goes out of bounds.
Back for Seattle Pacific, number 10, Rachel
So
Shim.
now Rachel Shim comes back in
Back
for the
Wolves,
Falcons.
3, Cleona Jones. And checking in 44, Taisha Thomas.
And then for Western Oregon, you have Kiana Jones coming in, back in the game, and Taisha Thomas checking in for the first time. Thomas, a 6-foot junior from Honolulu. Shim comes in for Albert on the Falcons side. Jones and Thomas come in for Miller and DeLong on the Wolves side. Lindsay Lee for 3 from the right corner. Rims out. Ball out of bounds. Last touch off McPhee. And another sub here for the Falcons. Looks like Courtney Hollander checks in.
Courtney
She
Hollander.
comes in for Ratosh. Right now for the Falcons on the floor, you have Shim, McPhee, Hollander, Lee, and Pagano. For the Wolves, you have Jones, Snook, Hughley, Sydney Azor, and then Taisha Thomas. And now this is Jones with it. Kicks it out. Coming in is Azor, and she can't make it from mid-range, and the rebound going to Courtney Hollander. Now here's Shim. She's going to hand it off to McPhee. Lee, top of the circle. Gets it over to McPhee, heading to her right. And she kicks it out from the paint to Shim, and now goes to the corner. Hollander for 3, no, and the rebound into the hands of Snook. So the Falcons a little bit cold from deep here to start out this game. Here's Thomas from just beyond the free throw line, no good. And the rebound going to the Falcons and McPhee. Back the other way now. Shim gave it to McPhee, who then gives it to Hollander. Short turnaround, no good against Thomas, and the rebound going to Hughley. Back the other way we go. Wolves up by 3, looking to add on to their lead. 6 minutes 32 left until halftime. Wolves leading this quarter 3-0 right now as Azor goes for 3, can't make it. Nice save there by Pagano as she gets the ball over to McPhee along the baseline. McPhee coming in transition, swatted from behind by Hughley. And she gets a high five from a couple of her teammates on the bench after that one.
Evans and 15, Julia Haining.
Meanwhile, Riley Evans and Julia Haining check in for the Falcons. McPhee and Pagano check out of the game. And the Falcons will inbound with 24 seconds on the shot clock. Went to Haining, and now she gave it to Hollander, to Lee, and back to Haining. Inside goes to Shim, who makes the leaping catch in the paint. Can't make the basket, but she is fouled on the way up, and she gets 2 free throws.
Taisha
First
Thomas.
foul of the quarter for either side goes to Taisha Thomas, and that's her first.
Shooting foul, Rachel Shim.
And it's going to be Rachel Shim who goes to the line for 2 for the Falcons. Rachel Shim, redshirt senior, makes the first free throw. Former Skyline Spartan from Sammamish. Makes it 23-21 there. And And now it's 23-22 as Shim gets her first 2 points of the afternoon. Late afternoon, early evening here on the West Coast. Zor got the inbounds at first. Now it's Jones who's being double teamed near half court, and she got fouled either by Shim or Evans. Let's see who the call's on. It's going to go on Shim, and that's her first. Team's first of the quarter. Inbounds coming up here. Got into the hands of Snook. Snook with 23 to shoot. Goes over to Hughley. Hughley, fadeaways up and good. Off the left foot. So Hughley scores. She's got 4. And coming into her left is Shim. Maneuvers around the traffic cones and scores. And it's 25-24. Falcons within 1. Outlet pass went to Azor from Jones there. Now at the top of the circle, it's Snook heading to her left. Passes right. They lost the ball. Western Oregon did. They call a tie-up. Falcons get the arrow here as Hughley and Evans were going for it in that little mini scrum. And the Falcons get the ball this time around. Hollander inbounds to Shim there. 5 minutes, 10 left till halftime. Hand off to Haining, trying to deke out Thomas a little bit. Now she gets it over to Hollander. And Shim bobbled it at first, but then caught it. Now it's going to be Haining, who comes into her left, tosses it up in the air, can't make it. Thomas might have swatted that one. This is a 2 for Evans if it goes, no good. Haining trying to get the rebound. She gets hit from behind, and I think this is going to be a foul on the Wolves. And it's going to go on Thomas, and that's her second. Team's second of the quarter, comes with 4:46 to play until half, and that will lead to an under 5-minute timeout. Score is 25-24 in favor of the Western Oregon Wolves, and we'll be right back. Ready to continue on here following the under 5-minute timeout. 4:46 to play until halftime. Jaylee Albert in the game for the Falcons again. She comes in for Rachel Shim. Ali Nelke in for the Wolves. She comes in for Thomas. As we continue on here in this Play for K game to honor the late NC State head coach, 2-time Olympic gold medal winner Kay Yao, as Courtney Hollander lays the ball in with a right hand. College basketball world and the Falcons and Western Oregon Wolves raising awareness for women's cancer research tonight, wearing pink warm-up shirts. And you also have Natalie DeLong on the Western Oregon side, who has the back of her hair dyed pink a little bit, as Haining gets the steal here for the Falcons. Albert goes over to Evans, who heads to her right. Might think that was swatted from behind, but she got the ball back. And Evans gets the pass from Albert, heads to her right, drives, goes up. Tough right-hand shot, but she scores against Nelke and Jones, and the Falcons lead now by 3. So Evans on the scoreboard for the first time in this half. Snook with the ball, heads to her left a couple steps. Now she goes to Jones, top of the circle. Came in a step or two. Now she shoots top of the key, no good. Rebound going to Hollander. And now here comes Albert. Outlet pass caught by Lee. Now it's Hollander. Top of the circle, comes into the top of the key. Now it's going to be Albert to Hollander for three. If it goes, and it's short, out of bounds. Substitution time. McPhee comes in for the Falcons. She comes in for Lee. And for the Wolves, you've got Boschma coming in for Snook. 28-25, 3:16 to play in quarter number 2. Falcons still cold from three-point land, just 1 of 8 from deep from three-point land, and 7 of 25 overall from the field. Good for just 28%. Falcons have got to turn that around a little bit, but they do have the lead by 3. That's the most important statistic at this point. And there's the three-point shot, no good for Hughley. Falcons get the rebound as Hollander grabs the loose ball for them. Here comes Evans, comes in, tough left hand, no good. And getting plowed over there was Hughley. She gets back up with some help. And the foul will go on Hughley, and that's going to be her second. Team's third of the quarter. And now Riley Evans will head off to the line. She's got 2 shots coming up here. And Evans makes the first of 2. 29-25. Quick sub here as Jasmine Miller checks in for the Wolves. She comes in for Hughley. 1 more free throw for Evans. It's going to be on the way, and it's good, and it's 30-25. And now you've got Haley Bennett checking in for the first time, and she checks in for Riley Evans on the Falcons side. And of course, 5'7" redshirt freshman from Kalispell, Montana. Saw her hit a half-court buzzer beater shot earlier this year, not to win a game, but just at the end of a quarter. That was a cool moment. That shot no good from inside for the Wolves. Rebound tipped over to Bennett and back the other way. And now it's Albert for 3. No good. And the rebound knocked away from Azor, and a foul's going to be called. Foul going on Haining, her second. Team's second of the quarter. And now Erica Pagano checks in for Hollander on the Falcons side. Nelke checks out for the Wolves. DeLong comes back in. And here comes Jones with it. Jones gets past McPhee, bounces inside to DeLong. DeLong's got to find somebody from the high post. She goes to Jones. Jones with 16 and now 15 on the clock. Comes in, goes up, left hand, not knocked over as she tried to throw up the layup. And the foul is going to be called on the Falcons.
Foul is on Julia Haining, her third.
Foul's on Haining again. That's her third. Team's third of the quarter. Each team now at 3 quarters apiece here in quarter number 2.
Deanna Jones to shoot.
And Jones now will shoot for the Wolves. 2 shots for her. Jones from the free throw line is a 73.7% free throw shooter. The first shot's on the way and good.
Back for the Falcons, 32.
Ratash comes in for the Falcons as Haining checks out. 30-26. Second free throw coming up here for Jones. With 1:56 to go until halftime. Free throw on the way and good, and we have a 30-27 game. Wolves within 3. Falcons have won this quarter so far, 10-7. And Bennett to Albert, pass knocked away by DeLong. Ball goes out of bounds. And looks like the Falcons are going to keep this ball. First a substitution, though, as Azor checks out of the game. Snook comes in for the Wolves. Carly Ratash in for the Falcons for Julia Haining. Haining with 3 fouls on the Falcons side, so maybe a while before we see her back in the game. Certainly it's going to be tough to envision her coming back in this game before halftime, as that shot is no good for the Falcons. Ball goes out of bounds after Ratash misses from mid-range-ish. And coming in now is Lee.
Back in for the Falcons, Lindsay Lee.
She comes in for Bennett. Shim's also going to come back in for SPU. She
Along with
comes in
Rachel
for
Shinn.
Albert with 91 seconds left until half. Inbounds pass gets into the hands of Snook, who's trapped near the sideline. Then she got it to Jones. Jones left side, 20 to shoot, comes in to her right, turns, shoots, scores. Got in from the paint, 30 to 29. Falcons up by 1. Lee to Pagano, whistle here, and no basket. Offensive foul.
Called on Rachel Shinn.
It's going to go on Rachel Shim. That will be her second, team's fourth. Comes with 1:09 left before half. 30 to 29. Boschma with 1:03 left. Being guarded well by Lee.
Remaining in the first half.
Hands it off. Snook with it. 17 to shoot. Shelby Snook gets the pass to DeLong. Whistle here. And a foul on the Falcons, and that'll be number 5 on them in the half.
Goes on Jordan McPhee, her
It's going to go on Jordan McPhee, her second.
Wolves now have the bonus and will shoot
Number
2.
5 in the half. Beg pardon, number 5 in the
At line,
quarter.
Natalie DeLong.
As DeLong will go to the line, she shoots 2. Bonus situation for the Wolves with 50.2 left until halftime. And the first shot on the way is short. That would have tied the
Back for
game if she had
SPU,
made it.
21, Courtney Hollander.
Hollander checks in for McPhee. So she'll get a breather with 2 fouls to her name. Only person on the floor right now for the Falcons with 2 fouls or more is Shim. She's got 2 fouls exactly right now, as that second shot by DeLong is missed. Ratosh the rebound, so an empty possession there for the Wolves as it were to turn out with a chance to tie the game and get the lead. And now it's Ratosh who turns and shoots from the paint. No good. Good defense there by Long. Boschma the rebound for the Wolves. Right now about a 3-second and change differential between the shot clock and the game clock. So Western Oregon just has to focus on getting the best shot possible right now as opposed to running the clock out. Although Jones is taking her time. She's being double teamed near the top of the circle. Now she gave it up to Snook. Snook heads left, goes up, scores.
Shelby
Clock
Snook.
winding down here in the first half. Here comes Shim, 2 seconds, 1 second, gets it off from just in front of half court, and it's not even close. It's short,
Score, Western Oregon
and that puts
41,
Western Oregon up
SPU
31 to 30 as we go into recess. The Wolves are winning that second quarter 11 to 10 over the Falcons. And ironically enough, that one technical foul shot that the Wolves got at the beginning of the game, that's the difference on the scoreboard right now. Both teams struggling from the field as we go to halftime. Falcons 7 of 29 from the field, including 1 of 10 from three-point land. Falcons just at 24.1% right now. Western Oregon 10 of 26 overall, 38.5%, 2 of 7 from three-point land. Free throw shooting is what's helping keep the Falcons in this game, 15 of 16, good for 93.8% there. And the Falcons obviously will hope they can turn it around a bit in the second half, certainly on the offensive end. So we'll take about a 12 minute break in our coverage, and then we'll come back for some SPU sports news, some more halftime stats, and then coverage of the second half between the Falcon women and the Western Oregon Wolves as we continue on this doubleheader Thursday here on our SPU Falcon live stream. Back in about 10, 11, 12 minutes. Well, we are getting ready to start half number 2 here at Royal Brome Pavilion between Western Oregon and Seattle Pacific. Score right now is 31-30 in favor of the Western Oregon Wolves at the half, and getting ready to start quarter number 3. Tom Giulianella here with you. Let's take a look at some SPU sports news while we go on here for a second. Excuse me, I need to find my notes. I had a brain cramp just now, I'm sorry. But anyways, congratulations to the SPU women's track and field team that won the Conference Co-Championship at the GNAC meet last weekend. The Falcon men and women are in action on the track oval tomorrow afternoon for the SPU final qualifier. The meet starts at 4:30 in Dempsey Indoor on the University of Washington campus. The SPU gymnastics team competes at home tomorrow night for the first time in nearly a month. The Falcons host Alaska Anchorage and Sacramento State in a triangular meet at 7 o'clock. That's SPU Gymnastics tomorrow at 7 right here in Brome Pavilion. And finally, the SPU men's basketball team, they have their final 2 home games of the season coming up here. They play later tonight after this game. The SPU women against Western Oregon is over against Central Washington. The tip-off time for that one is at 7:30, but that's subject to change. And on Saturday night, they play at 7:30 again against Northwest Nazarene. Seniors Hunter Eisenhower and E.J. Paulson will be honored with a ceremony prior to tip-off of Saturday's game. So come back to Brome Pavilion on Saturday night for the final SPU basketball home game of the season. We'll see you then. And we'll also see you here on the SPU live stream at 7:30 tonight, like I said, for the SPU men against Central Washington. Central always has kind of a dynamic athletic team, so that'll be a good matchup for the SPU men to test themselves here against. Leading scorers for the SPU Falcons in half number 1, Courtney Hollander had 11, and second was Julia Haining with 6, although Haining has 3 fouls right now to her name. And for Western Oregon, Shelby Snook has 15 points after scoring 20 twice last week against Concordia and Montana State Billings in 2 Western Oregon wins. And second place behind her is Kiana Jones with 6. Again, the Falcons and Wolves were really cold from the field in the first half. Falcons more so than the Wolves. Falcons 1 of 10 from three-point land, and 7 of 29 overall from the field, good for just 24.1%. Wolves 10 of 26 from the field, 38.5%. 2 of 7 from three-point land, 28.6% is what they had. You've got to believe that the team that can get hot in the second half offensively, get a little bit of positive forward movement, some positive traction, that's going to be the team that wins at the rate we're going right now. A fake here and going up is hugely, can't make it, tries to save it inbounds, can't. Falcons have the ball. In the game right now for SPU, looks like you have Pagano, Lee, McPhee, Albert, who has the ball right now, and Hollander. For Western Oregon, you have Hughley in the game. You have Jones in the game. You have DeLong in the game. Layup up and good here for Hollander as she scores. Snook is in the game, and you've got Sydney Azora in the game. Snook beats the double team with a pass. They go inside to DeLong, and the layup is good. The assist there going to Hughley. And it's going to be a 33-32 lead in favor of Western Oregon. Falcons in the home white, Western Oregon in the red. Falcons going from right to left on your screen or in this second half. And the Wolves going from left to right on the offensive end. And now here's McPhee, or rather Hollander coming in, shoots and scores from just inside the free throw line, and it's 34-33. The Falcons up by 1. And now here's Jones with the ball. Front court against Albert. Albert gets away from her. Jones does. Layup is good, and the foul. She got hit late. And Kiana Jones will go to the line for 1. 35-34 the score. Foul here on the Falcons, and it goes on Jordan McPhee, and that's her third. Now Rachel Shim checks in for the Falcons.
10, Rachel Shim.
McPhee checks out. And it's free throw time for Western Oregon as they try to go up by 2. Jones, the ex-Bothell Cougar, with 8 points to her name so far, make it 9 as she makes the free throw. 36-34. Falcons trail by 2. And now it's Hollander who comes into the right. Fakes the pass, goes up, counted in the foul. Courtney Hollander posts up and puts the ball in the hoop. And it's 36-36, tied up. Courtney Hollander with 17 for the Falcons. That leads the team, that leads everybody right now. Foul here going on Snook, and that's a big foul. Snook with 15 points to her name, only double-digit score on Western Oregon's team right now as far as this game is concerned. She has to check out with her 3 fouls. Boschma comes in. So maybe a chance here for SPU to make a little bit of a run, as Hollander misses the free throw chance, and the rebound here going to hugely on the Western Oregon side. 36-36 tie. As Jones goes inside to DeLong, lost the ball and scooped up by Shim. Back the other way. Shim to Lee for the 3, and the lead rims out. Hollander tried to get the rebound, couldn't. Got held a little bit, but no foul, and Jones takes it for the Wolves across the timeline. Jones against Shim. Passes left to Azor, and now this is hugely with the ball into the corner. Goes from one corner to another, right to left. Shot for 3, no good for Jones. Rebound tipped into the hands of Azor. Azor against Albert. Falcons switching defenders with Pagano there. Ball gets to Jones, drives left, slashes left, and lays it in against Shim with the left hand, and that makes it 38-36. Jones has 11. She's the leading scorer as far as players on the floor right now for Western Oregon. And she's their second double-digit scorer of the game to go with Snook as Shim drives right, goes down hard to the floor.
Foul on the Wolves, Kaylee Boschma.
And she's fouled on the way up. Foul is called here on Boschma. That's her second, team second of quarter number 3.
Rachel
Shim will go to the line. She shoots 2. Shooting foul situation here. Shim with 4 points so far for SPU. And the first shot on the way is up and good. 38-37. Haining checks in with 3 fouls for the Falcons.
Western Oregon 2, Jasmine
She
Miller.
comes in for Pagano. And then for the Wolves, you have Jasmine Miller coming in for Savannah Hughley. Second free throw for Shim. It is going to be good, and it's 38-38 with 6:52 to play in quarter number 3. Azor with it against Albert. Hands it off to Jones. Playing quarterback for the time being against Albert. Comes in, blocked away. Hollander swatted it free. But the play stops with the ball going out of bounds, and Western Oregon still has it. Azor will inbound. 13 on the shot clock for the Wolves once they get this ball in. Gets to Jones. Fakes the 3 against Lee. Thought twice about that. Now Hollander defending her. The long gets past Haining off the fake. Can't make the shot. In and out. Rebound Miller, though. Wolves get another chance. And Jones for 3. Rims it out off the back. Rebound Albert. Back the other way. Albert fumbles the ball. Picks it back up. And now Hollander. To Lee. Albert right corner. And she goes to Hollander, who heads to the right. Goes up from the paint. Got it to go down with the right hand. Courtney Hollander has 19 to lead the Falcons. They lead by 2, 40-38 now with 5:48 to play in quarter number 3. Kiana Jones against Shim. Goes inside to DeLong, goes up, can't make the layup. Rebound going to Hollander, back the other way. Shim, outlet to Lee, and now it's Haining in the corner against DeLong, and she gets her feet tangled, and it's going to be a foul on DeLong.
Personal goes against Natalie DeLong.
That will
of
be
Western
her
Maine.
second, team's third of the quarter. McPhee checks in for the Falcons now. She checks in for Lee, and for the Wolves, DeLong checks out. And Ali Nelke, the 5'11 junior from Albany, Oregon, checks in. Inbounds here. McPhee from the baseline. She's got to get in 5 seconds or less. She goes to Hollander, and now it's Albert. Over to McPhee, and now it's Haining from the free throw line. Hands it off. McPhee throws up a wild shot, but somehow she got it in high off the glass. Went straight up and then straight down, basically, but it worked. And it's 42-38. Azor. Falcons by 4. Passes left. They shoot a 3, and it's good. It's Jasmine Miller who makes it. The 5'11 senior from Tualatin, Oregon, puts the Wolves back within 1. And those were Miller's first points of this contest. McPhee to Albert. Comes in. Kicks out. Shim tries to take back the favor. Can't. Rebound. Bobbled around and then picked up by Azor. And it's going to be Jones. With 4:30 left, quarter 3. Jones passing left. Coming in off a high dribble and missing it is Azor, and the Falcons get the rebound. Back the other way. In transition, McPhee throws it up. Fouled on the way up. So she will go to the line here. Foul here called on Nelke, and that'll be her first, team's fourth. Timeout on the floor with less than 5 minutes to play in quarter number 3. Score is 42-41. And we'll be right back. Falcons 42, Wolves 41. Well, getting ready to continue on here. 4 minutes 15 left in quarter 3. Score is 42-41. Falcons up by 1, and now following the under 5 minute timeout, it's free throw time. Jordan McPhee shoots 2. First shot on the way and good. Now Erica Pagano checks in for the Falcons. Her and Lee have been announced as in the game for Jaylee Albert and Courtney Hollander. Second free throw up and good for Albert. And Shelby Snook, the leading scorer for Western Oregon, she is checked back in the game with her 3 fouls for Kiana Jones. Snook has 15 for the Wolves right now as they trail by 3 following the made free throws by McPhee. Falcons been very good from the free throw line still, 19 of 21 from the charity stripe. Following those 2 makes by Jordan McPhee. And now it's Miller who kicks it out to Azor. Comes in, turns, fires, and she can't make it, and the rebound going to McPhee. Good double team there by the Falcons. Create a tough shot. And now on their end offensively, it's McPhee who then gives it to Lee for a 3, and it's good from the corner. Lindsay Lee hits it from deep, and the Falcons lead it by 6. The sequence started with the rebound by McPhee off the double team of Azor. It caused the miss, and the Falcons go up by 6. And now, on the Wolves' end of things, Boschma gets fouled as she tries to scoop and score with the left hand. Tried to maneuver inside that time to her left. Foul that time going on Lee, and that's going to be her first, team second of quarter number 3. Free throw time. Boschma will, with the left hand, make the first. Substitution time now. Taisha Thomas comes in for Western Oregon. Sydney Azor checks out. Second free throw coming up with the Falcons up by 5. Second free throw is up and no good for the southpaw, and it goes out of bounds. So Boschma strikes out there. Western Oregon now 11 of 16 from the free throw line, 68.8%. They've missed 5 times in what is right now a 5-point game. McPhee backs up a step, gives it to Lee. Thought about taking a 3, didn't want to do it though with Miller coming in. Now it's Haining. Lost control of the ball, but McPhee gets it. Shot in the way is short, and the rebound going to Thomas. Back the other way. And having a hard time with the ball is Boschma. They call a tie-up, and the arrow this time favors SPU. It was an awkward sequence there for Western Oregon, but the Falcons will gladly take it as Lee and Shim check out of the game and for the Falcons, and Albert and Evans check back in. Here's Albert. Passes from right to left as she gives it to Evans. Now in the corner, it's Pagano. Evans. Albert with 14. Giving it to Evans left side. Now it's Pagano who posts up, maneuvers to the left, lost the ball, and it's picked up by Boschma. And Boschma comes in against McPhee. Turnaround, no good, but a foul. So Boschma will go back to the line for 2 as McPhee is called for the foul. That's her 4th. So no question about it. Julie Heisey's going to have to get somebody off the bench to come back in, and now Hollander springs to her feet, gets to the scorers table. So McPhee with her 9 points is going to have to sit out. And one senior will be swapped out for another here as McPhee checks out. Hollander checks in. And we may not see McPhee again for a while here with those 4 fouls to her name. Second free throw is good this time for Boschma, so she goes 2 of 2 from the charity stripe this time around. 47-44. Falcons up by 3. Hollander with the ball. Over to Haining. Haining coming in. Goes to the corner to Evans. She got it for 3. Riley Evans hits it from deep. So the Falcons, after starting out 1 for 10 from three-point land, they're starting to heat up just a little bit here. They are still 3 of 14 from three-point land, but still a little bit of an improvement. They've gotten 2 big buckets from deep as that shot by Snook is no good, and the Falcons get the rebound. Snook missing that one from three-point land. And now Hollander. Heads to her left, and now she gives it to Pagano. And she goes to Evans for 3, and she can't make it. And the rebound gets into the hands of Boschma. And now it's going to be Snook this time in the front court against Albert. Albert's arms spread out. Now it goes to Thomas. To Miller. Miller against Evans. Coming in, and now it's a kick out and an open look for 3, and that's wide left for Boschma, and reaching in and getting the rebound is Pagano. Albert outlet pass, Evans, open look. She'll just take the 3, can't make it though. Rebound Haining. Haining maneuvers, scores with the right hand. Nice job by Julia Haining underneath. Falcons winning this third quarter right now, 22-13, and we have less than 30 seconds to play in the third quarter. Best quarter of the night so far for SPU, but Snook gets fouled in the paint as she goes up for the shot. That's number 4 on the Falcons in this quarter. Number 2 on Evans. And now it's free throw time as Snook goes to the line. Snook with 15 points, working on her 3rd straight 20-point game. And the first free throw up and good for her. 52-45.
Back for the Falcons, Lindsay Lee. For the
She's
Wolves,
got
Kiana
16.
Jones, and 24, Savannah
Snook
Beasley.
does. A lot of substitutions coming in for both sides. We'll get them to you as soon as they're recorded here. From the scorers table, Lindsay Lee in for the Falcons for Haining officially. Hughley and Jones in on the Wolves side for Nelke and Boschma. Second free throw goes in for Snook. Shot clock is off, 52-46. Falcons by 2 3-pointers right now. Albert playing quarterback, hands it off to Pagano with 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Evans comes in with 1, throws it up, no good as time expires. And that's the end of the third quarter. So we've got a tight one heading into quarter number 4 here. 52-46. The SPU Falcons lead by 6, and we will return in a moment. Ready to continue on for quarter number 4 between the SPU Falcons and the Western Oregon Wolves. The SPU women up 52-46. Again, a reminder coming up at 7:30, at least that's the scheduled tip-off time. It'll be the SPU men against Central Washington. Should be a good matchup for SPU on the men's side. If they win one of their last 2 games, they will be in the GNAC Conference Tournament. So look forward to that opportunity later tonight. Right now, though, the fourth quarter, as Snook gets it started off for the Western Oregon Wolves. And now it's Jones with it. Goes to Thomas, heads to the right around Pagano, counted in the foul. Western Oregon can get within 3 here if they can make a free throw. So that's the first of the quarter on the Falcons, obviously. 15 seconds in. And the first overall on Pagano. 1 shot for Thomas, and it's going to be good. And it's 52-49.
That's the first foul of the fourth quarter.
This has been a long night so far in terms of free throw shooting. Falcons right now 19 of 21 from the free throw line. Western Oregon 16 of 21. Of course, those difference of free throws, 3 in all. Falcons have made 3 more than Western Oregon. That's the difference in the score right now. And right on cue, we get another foul that leads to some free throw shooting as Miller fouls Evans in the act of shooting. So Evans will go to the line, and she shoots 2. First shot on the way, no good off the back iron. And Azor checks in the game now for Western Oregon. She comes in for Miller. Second free throw coming up. Overall, Falcons and Wolves each have had 15 personal fouls called on them in this game, and the Falcons also had one, what they're calling an administrative technical foul called on them at the very beginning of the game right before tip-off that led to 2 technical free throws for Western Oregon. They made one of them and started out the game up 1-0 before the opening tip. Layup is up and good here, driving right for Hughley, and that gets him within 2 after Evans made 1 of 2 free throws on the Falcons' end of things. And now it's Albert over to Lee. Hollander. Evans. Albert fakes, comes in. Bounces to the corner to Lee. Back to Albert. 8 to shoot, and now 7. Shot from near the top of the circle. Good! A three-pointer for Albert. And that's her first field goal, her first tray, her first points of the night right there. And it comes at a good time for the Falcons. Up by 5 now. A little more breathing room. Still a lot of time left. And they pass it over to Azor, who comes in. Now she kicks it out. Coming in is Hughley. Positions herself against 2 defenders. Can't make the fade away, and Hollander scoops up the easy rebound. Here comes Albert. 8:08 to go. Hollander to Albert. 19 to shoot. Comes in. Bounces to Lee. Kicks out Evans. Goes inside. Pagano posts up. Right hand. No good, but she drew the foul. I would assume this will be on Azor, but we'll double check. And it is going to be on Azor, and that's her second. Team's second of the quarter. Free throw time yet again. Pagano will go to the line. And the free throw up and good. 57-51. Shim in the game for the Falcons. Albert checks out. After hitting that clutch three-pointer a moment ago. Shim has 6 points for the Falcons, by the way. She re-enters the game. Pagano makes her second free throw, and those are her first 2 points of the night right there, and it puts the Falcons up by 7. 58-51, SPU up by a touchdown and an extra point. Still a lot of time left, though. 7:45 to go, and count it. Thomas gave it to Jones, heading to the left around Pagano. And now a little bit of a double team. Ball knocked away in the paint. Looked like by Pagano. Ball goes out of bounds. Western Oregon keeps it with 9 to shoot. DeLong now checks in. And Thomas checks out for Western Oregon. Now 9 seconds left. Western Oregon with the quick inbound from the baseline. And Hughley, turnaround, no good. Rebound going to Evans. And now here comes Shim. Shim with it, 23 to shoot. Passes toward the corner to Hollander, and now she kicks it out to Evans, who keeps it in bounds. Evans to Lee. Shim shoots from deep, no good, and the rebound goes to Western Oregon. Back the other way we go with 7 minutes to play. Shim missing that one from three-point land. And now a scrum for the ball, but Shim couldn't scoop it up. She tried to knock it away from Hughley and get the steal. 18 seconds to shoot now for the Wolves as they get set to inbound again. Julia Haining checks in for the Falcons. She comes in for Pagano. Inbounds a long one, almost too long, as Jones makes the catch. Now she's got to kick it out from the post. And coming in and missing the layup as Azor gets a second chance at it, though, and she's fouled on the way up as she tries to throw it up from the post. Foul going on Evans, her third. Team's second of the quarter. 2 shots coming up here for Azor. Azor. This is free throw number 1 there. So she's still stuck on 3 points. And she makes the second as that one goes in off the front. 58-52. Falcons up 6 as Evans gives it to Shim. Passes left to Lee. Lee to Haining. Haining coming in. Goes up after a fake, and she's hit by DeLong and fouled. So she'll go to the line. And the foul on DeLong is her third, and the team's third off the quarter. So off to the line is Haining. I would think with 6:29 left, DeLong will stay in, but we'll see. First free throw, no good for Haining this time. And now Albert checks in for the Falcons. She comes in for Evans. So Albert back in. Evans, for the time being, departs with 8 points. Second free throw for Haining on the way, and that's good, and that makes it 59-52. Courtney Hollander still the only double-digit scorer for the Falcons, although you do have McPhee with 9 points, Haining with 9 now, Evans with 8. Whistle here and a foul on the Falcons. Third on them in the quarter. Second on Lee overall. And now Snook will inbound. Leading scorer for the Wolves with 17 points. Only other double-digit score that they have is Jones, the freshman, who has 11. And Snook kicks it out. Open look for three, and it's no good. There was a chance there for Azor. Couldn't make it. Albert got the rebound. Now she outlets to Shim. Now Haining to Shim. Shim finds Lee. 20 to shoot. Finding Shim, and now it goes to Hollander. Makes the catch. One-handed. Kicks it out. Bouncing it is Albert inside. And Hollander gets the easy look and score. And Courtney Hollander, the senior, has 21 points to match her jersey number. Timeout on the floor with 5 minutes 47 left to play in quarter number 4. Falcons up by 9, and we'll be back in a moment. 5:47 left in quarter 4 between the Falcons and the Western Oregon Wolves. Falcons up by 9, 61-52, and was there a foul here? There was. As Hughley got forced out. Foul's on Hollander, her second. It's the team's 4th. One more foul on the Falcons, and it'll be a bonus situation the rest of the way for Western Oregon. Rest of the way in the 4th quarter and into overtime. They work it from left to right. Now it's Jones with it, top of the circle. Passes to the left. They shoot a 3 from very deep. No good for Snook, and the rebound going to Hollander. Back the other way, and now it's going to be Shim. Shim hustling and weaving to the left. The defender goes down. It was Jones. She gets back up, though. And ball goes out of bounds off the Wolves with 21 seconds to shoot. For the Falcons still. Jasmine Miller and Kaylee Boschma check back in for the Wolves. And Jones and Boschma sit. 15 seconds to play on the shot clock here. Or Azor checks out, I'm sorry. 32, not 22, checks out. Haining took a step into the left. Now she's in the dribble. Posts up, turns around, no good. Rebound to Long. Now the ball's poked out, and it's picked up by the Wolves. And they get a fresh 30 seconds to work with. Back the other way here. It's Snook. Goes inside to Long. Layup no good. Tap in, yes. Nice job there by Hughley to clean it up. And that gets the Wolves within 7. Outlet pass caught here by Haining. There was too much backcourt defense there by the Wolves, it would appear. And the Falcons took advantage of it, and they go up by 9. Haining has 11. Snook falls down. She tries to kick it out, and it's picked off by Hollander. In transition, it goes to Lee. Into the corner. Albert to Shim, and now it's Hollander top of the circle. Goes to Albert. Now Shim left side with 18. Shim coming in, going up, no. And the rebound into the hands of Boschma. Boschma back the other way. She goes into the front court. 4 minutes left. Falcons trying to hang on to and expand potentially this 9-point lead. DeLong being double teamed. Tie up is the call. And the arrow this time favors the Falcons. And substitution time is upon us here as McPhee and Pagano will come in, but first we will have an under 5-minute timeout with 3 minutes 51 to play in quarter 4. Falcons up by 9 as they look to finish out a victory and get their 20th win of the season. And we'll be right back to see if they can get that done. Ready to pick up the action here. 3 minutes 51 to go in quarter number 4. The Falcons up by 9. Trying to hang on to this lead against the Western Oregon Wolves. 63-54 the score. Officially in for the Falcons following the timeout. McPhee and Pagano check in for Shim and Hollander. Here's Lee. Lee goes a step to the right. Now it's Haney. And they work it over to Albert, who last got the pass from McPhee. Bounces to Haney. Hands it back to Albert. Goes up right hand. No. Rebound, though, got to McPhee somehow in the post. Falcons get a fresh 30 seconds. They may want to think about working this clock just a little bit here. Western Oregon running out of time as Lee tries the 3 and hits. Falcons by 12. Lindsay Lee with a huge three-pointer there for the Falcons. The 5th of the night for SPU, and now they're going to see if her foot was on the line or not. They'll check the tape really quick. This is the largest lead, though, if it stands. This is the largest lead of the game for the Falcons here at 12 points. And SPU, even though it has not looked pretty for them as far as their shooting numbers are concerned in this game, 19 of 51 overall, 37.3% overall, and just 5 of 19 from three-point land as that shot by Lee is confirmed. They've found a way to get it done, and they're up by 12 with a little over 3 minutes to play here. Big key to the Falcons' success right now, their free throw shooting. I would think that's the biggest key for them. 23 of 27, good for 85.2%. Wolves, by comparison, 17 of 23 from the charity stripe, just 73.9%. DeLong with it, near the top of the key, and now a whistle. With 19 to shoot, we're going to get a foul on the Falcons. That's number 5 on them. It's going to go on Albert. That's just her second. And now it's free throw time. It will be Boschma who goes to the line, and she will shoot 2 in the bonus situation. Boschma with 3 points in this game. They've all come from the free throw line. The first shot's up and good for her with the left hand. Now a substitution here. Jones is in for Western Oregon. DeLong checks out. And for the Falcons, you've got Rachel Shim coming back in for Albert with 2:58 to go. Wolves trying to get it within 10 here, as they are very much running out of time. Western Oregon in this game, 17 of 50 from the field, good for just 34%. Hence why with the Falcons up by 10 here, you kind of feel like they should think about running some clock a little bit. Whistle here, though, and we are going to get a foul on Western Oregon, and it's going to be on Jones. That's her second, just the team's fourth, though, so a fresh 30 seconds on the clock for the Falcons. You could run this clock all the way down to the 2:17 mark if that's what they want to do here. And again, with Western Oregon only shooting 34% from the field and the Falcons up by 10, I think that may be a consideration here. That ball tipped out of bounds, last touch off the Falcons. 2:33 left on the clock. And now the inbounds, and now hold the phone. And I think they're just going to do this again. And now here comes Snook. Snook in the front court. 17 points for her. Drives left, goes up. Can't make it. Rebound McPhee. Back the other way. McPhee gets into the front court. Falcons have been just about even with Western Oregon tonight in terms of their rebounding. 33 rebounds for the Falcons, 34 for the Wolves. They've at least held their own on the boards. As we come to the 2-minute mark. Another big reason why the Falcons are winning this game other than free throws. Here's a three-pointer for Pagano with 1 on the clock. Can't make it. Rebound to Shim. Falcons again may want to run some clock down a little bit here. Lee bounces to Haining, bounces inside Pagano, and there's the point-blank layup that puts the Falcons up 12. Pagano has 4. I was just going to say, another big stat in this game, it's going to be the turnover margin. Wolves with 12 turnovers in this game, Falcons with just 6. And that may very well be the difference in this game. Empty possessions for the Wolves, more free throw efficiency for the Falcons, more free throws made for the Falcons. As we get a foul here on Lee, that's her third. Falcons are in the penalty. 2 free throws here for the Wolves coming up as Boschma will go to the line with 1:23 to go, trying to get Western Oregon within 10. They're going to need a minor miracle to pull off a comeback here as the free throw goes up and in for Boschma. And now Haley Bennett checks in along with Ratash. Shim is out, Haining is out. It's a couple high fives from Julie Heisey. Second free throw now. 1:23 to play is up and good. 68-58, timeout. Called by Western Oregon. With 1:23 left in this contest, Falcons almost home, up by 10, 68-58. Falcons up by 10. Falcon women up by 10, 68-58 over Western Oregon. We get a foul here in the backcourt. Boschma fouls McPhee. Here on Play for K night, as both of these teams sporting their pink. They have some pink wristbands and pink warm-up shirts. Natalie DeLong of Western Oregon has dyed part of her hair pink, as the first free throw is up and good here for McPhee, puts the Falcons up by 11. Foul going on Boschma here, that's her third. Each team now with 5 fouls apiece in this quarter. Also has had some cancer survivors introduced before the game. One of them sang the national anthem. That's a good cause to raise awareness for women's cancer research. So we honor the late, great Kay Yao, former NC State coach and United States coach who won 2 gold medals. Foul here going on McPhee after the shot is made by Boschma with 1:07 left. And McPhee's out of the game as she ends with 5 fouls and 11 points. Now Riley Evans will check in for her.
Riley Evans.
If Boschma can make this free throw, that would get the Wolves within 9, but they still have a long ways to go after that. And a reminder coming up, in a little over 30 minutes from now, it'll be the SPU men against Central Washington. If the Falcon men can win tonight, ball goes out of bounds, last touch off the Wolves, off the inbounds. If the Falcon men can win tonight, or if they can just win one of their next 2 games in general, they would be in the GNAC Conference Tournament after missing out on that last year. 1 minute remaining here in quarter number 4. Falcons up by 9. They're going to want to let this clock run down, I would think, a little bit, unless there's a really good shot available to them. Got 9 seconds left here. They tried to knock the ball away from Pagano. That was the right thing to do for Boschma, but she's going to get called for the foul. That's her 4th.
Erica Pagano shoots 2.
Boschma, one of 3 double-digit scorers right now for Western Oregon. She's got 10 points. Jones is 11 for the Wolves. Snook is 17. Looked like a few minutes ago that Snook was easily going to get to 20 points and perhaps a little beyond that for Western Oregon. Looks like she's going to come just a little short of that. As Pagano misses her first free throw, makes the second, puts the Falcons
Once again,
back up by
Western
10.
Oregon. Falcons
Puts
71, Wolves
the
61.
Falcons up by more than 3 possessions, and Western Oregon is going to call a timeout, and that's their second to last timeout remaining. Falcons haven't had to use a single timeout in this game. That's kind of interesting from Julie Heisey's perspective. And actually, to stand corrected, that's the last timeout for Western Oregon. So the Falcons, it looks like they're going to end up walking away from this game with all 4 of their timeouts unused. Western Oregon is going to end up using all 4 of their timeouts. Unfortunately for Julie Heisey, those timeouts don't carry over like some cell phone minutes do. But the Falcons look to be on their way to their 20th win of the year. It would be their first 20-win season for them since 2015. It would also be SPU's 9th win in 10 tries at home. And it's certainly not going to hurt their standing in the NCAA Selection Committee's eyes. Remember, the way they do that, it's not a computer formula. You basically do it like college football in that you have people, coaches, athletic directors locked in a room until they select the teams. And they pick which teams they basically like the best, or the best teams, most deserving teams. They do it by geography. In the NCAA, for Division II, they don't do it like in Division I, where you just make it 1 versus 64, and then you have March Madness, and you fill out your bracket, and off you go. Foul there on Lee, her 4th. They divide the tournament into 8 sub-regions of 8. The Falcons are in the West region, and right now the Falcons head into this week 6th in the West with their 19-6 record, soon to be 20-6. Number 1 on that list is Alaska Anchorage, who the Falcons did beat earlier in the year, but they got blown out by last week in Anchorage. That ball tipped out of bounds by Boschma. She tries to make something happen with the Wolves down 8. 39.7 remaining. Northwest Nazarene is 4th at 20-3 overall. Montana State Billings is 8th at 16-10. There's a steal here. Snook goes inside to Jones. She's going to step back, and she walked with the ball. I don't know what Western Oregon was doing there. They just had to, down by 8 with less than 40 seconds left. You got to put up some quick shots. You got to be like Reggie Miller in Madison Square Garden, where he has 8 points in 8 seconds or whatever that was. Just pick the ball up and shoot. And Snook didn't do that. Jones didn't do that inside. And now we get a timeout called by the Falcons with 34.6 remaining. The Falcons, you get an idea there of how tough their conference is. They have 4 teams There are 4 teams from the GNAC that right now would be in the NCAA tournament. So basically half the West Region field would come from this conference if the tournament started now. Falcons still have Concordia, Portland, and the GNAC tournament in Anchorage to come. Whistle here, and a foul. With 34.2 seconds remaining.
Timeout on the court, called by the Falcons.
Or no, timeout call. No foul. Timeout called by the Falcons. So they're just going to use all their timeouts now if they can. They may as well. Obviously, you don't want to turn the ball over at this point. Give Western Oregon any kind of chance. But anyways, long story short, the Falcons, they've got to keep winning to maintain or improve their standing in terms of the NCAA tournament. And certainly tonight will help at least a little bit. Certainly doesn't hurt them to beat a Western Oregon team that's trying hard to get in the GNAC tournament. They came into this game a half game behind Simon Fraser and Western Oregon, who are each tied for 6th. Right now, Simon Fraser would be in the tournament, and Western Washington would be out because of tiebreakers. Concordia is 7-11. Western Oregon is 7-11. St. Martin's and Alaska Fairbanks bringing up the rear of the conference. St. Martin's 3-15. Fairbanks 0-18. So we get ready for another inbounds play here. But assuming the Falcons don't have a calamity here in the final 34.6 seconds, they're going to go to 20-6 overall in the year, 14-5 in the GNAC. Falcons came into this game 3rd in the conference behind Anchorage and Northwest Nazarene. Layup no good. Rebound into the hands of Jones. Here's a three-pointer for Snook. It's short. Rebound gets into the hands of Boschma to Miller, and now Snook for 3. She got it, and that gets her 20 points. And that makes it a 5-point game with 19.3 remaining and a timeout called by the Falcons. So Western Oregon trying to make this a little interesting here at the end. But if Western Oregon loses, they would be 11-14 overall, 7-12 in the GNAC. But right now they still have a ways to go. The Wolves do if they want to try to come back and win or force overtime. They're down 2 possessions here with 19.3 remaining. They've done a good job here in the final minute to get some turnovers and force the Falcons to use some timeouts and make a couple shots to make this interesting, but you just don't know if it's going to be enough. Find out here momentarily. Pagano will inbound for the Falcons. She's got to get it away in 5 seconds or less, and she didn't do it. Wow. So all of a sudden, Western Oregon, if they can get a quick shot off here, this would be a 1-possession game maybe. Oh, Bennett, that pass went off her shoulder blade on the defensive side, and then Pagano scooped it up for her. And then Bennett is fouled as she gets the ball with 9.2 seconds remaining. That was kind of a bizarre and fortuitous play for the Falcons there, to say the least. And Western Oregon's last best chance to maybe give themselves a chance at the last second may have just come and gone. Bennett makes the first free throw. She needs this next one to make it a 3-possession game with less than 10 seconds to play. Evans comes out of the game. Albert checks in. And Bennett, her first 2 points of the game, may have just ended the game right there. 7-point game. Here's Snook. 3 straight 20-point games for her from deep. It's short. Miller inside, and that shot by Boschma is good, but that's just going to be cosmetic. 0.6 left on the clock. 5-point game. Falcons inbound the ball, and the game is over. So a little bit of a scare there at the end for the SPU Falcons, but they hang on and win 73-68, and they win their 20th game. And now they await senior night for their 6 seniors who are active in playing.
Fans, these Falcon women return
as
to
they
Royal
get set
this
for that
Saturday,
on
February
Saturday night
24th,
against
when they take on
Concordia of Portland. Start time there will be
Senior night
5:15
for
p.m.
SPU.
Right now, though, we'll take about a half-hour break and come back
5:15 p.m.
for
We look forward to
SPU, the
seeing you
SPU
back here
men,
at Royal
and
Bowl
Central
this
Washington.
Saturday
So
at
we'll see you in about a
5:15
half hour
Lady
for that.
Falcons